Was that recording the entire fucking time?
Yes, it was.
Oh my
No,
god.
it wasn't. It was living the entire time.
No, I'm in the audio recorder.
Oh, was it recording?
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 227. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Thnutke.
Hey, that's me.
Hello, viewer. Hello, listener.
Hey, there you go. You did my thing.
I know.
Because I want to say hello to everybody individually.
And now that I understand it, I'm less offended by it. So.
Yeah.
Which means I might even perpetuate it once in a while.
There you go. Perfect.
Anyway, before we dig into our first topic, I want to briefly, as always, touch on our Patreon page, patreon.com/carbitrage. On this customized Patreon page, you will find 2 open-ended monthly levels of contribution that content consumers like you can send to content producers like us. We use it to pay for hosting and mainly beer. So head on over to patreon.com/carbitrage and get yourself some swag. All right, moving on. Drinks. You have a Coke and Cola. I have a bottle of water. We're kind of boring for episode 2.
I have
Want to talk about gross
an
companies?
iced oat milk latte with
Oat juice.
brown sugar. Oat juice latte.
There's no
With brown
oat boob.
Want to talk about gross companies?
Coke?
Coke.
Yeah, throwing back to our last episode, we were talking about companies that just like totally suck.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Coke totally sucks. Yeah.
Well,
But anyway.
It was already here, so
Yeah.
nothing we can
No,
do.
it's okay because I actually like Coke once in a while. I like Pepsi more, but I do like Coke once in a while.
When I mix it, I prefer Coke, but everything else Pepsi. So I hear where you're coming
There's
from. I'm not a brand
There's
loyalist.
a specific Coke that I will take over any Pepsi, and that's a McDonald's Coke. Just because they're fountain machines, they get the syrup to like carbonated water like ratio just right.
It's probably perfected for them. So.
Yeah, I honestly think that they have a different syrup. Like,
Well, it could be. Maybe it's like the OE compounds for a sport tire or something
Yeah,
like that.
like,
Where it's
it's
just a
just
little bit different.
a little bit different. It's all there, but like just like half percentage.
Hey,
difference.
Coke.
Yeah.
This is McDonald's. It's pretty good, but can you put just a little bit of extra kick in there?
Yeah.
Do you mean the cocaine? Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Just a little.
You know,
it's
like
a
good old
treat.
times.
And some nicotine to keep people
Oh,
coming.
perfect. No, they put that in
Just
the
a little
McChickens.
treat.
Anyway, I was talking to Tom before you guys came down here today. Actually, it was yesterday. And he's got a neighbor across the street that inherited I think it's a 98 or 99 XK8 convertible. 99.
I went over and talked to him.
I gotcha. From her uncle several years ago. And she's like a nonprofit head, just has no desire to drive this red Jaguar around. And he was asking, A, what we thought it was worth, and B, how she could possibly sell it for top dollar without actually doing the legwork herself. So topic 1, we'll appraise it right now, and then topic 2 a little bit later, we'll talk about the other component. But I told Tom, I'm like, well, judging from the last 4 or 5 times we've talked about Jags on the podcast and Bring a Trailer, I'm guessing Ryan will know exactly what this is worth.
I have it almost to the penny, I think.
So I was originally off the cuff thinking maybe $7,500, and I was talking to him. What is it actually worth?
For me, I will give her exactly $1 for it. And she will know that I will go to a loving home, and I will have an entire social media presence of me with that $1 Jag going to car shows. I will absolutely own that, and I will do it, and I will make a whole thing out of it. So she can give it to me for $1, mostly because I don't have spare money right now. But that being said,
Disregard everything you just
Yeah,
heard.
no, Jake, please.
that being said, I looked him up. So 99 XK8. I've seen him on Brand Trailer, about 10 grand with over 100,000 miles. Similar color, red. It's like, I'm not sure which red, but it's over an oatmeal interior, which is a really smart looking tan interior.
Okay.
Like they have like literally 8 different tan interiors. On
Great.
those. But it
That's
looks,
a very delicious name.
yeah, I know it's
Oatmeal.
oatmeal's my favorite of the tans. But yeah, so it's oatmeal with red, and then it says 72,571, so 73,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, with really good representation, the big determining factor is maintenance history. If this car has full maintenance history on it, I could see it going for 13 to 14.
Okay.
If it doesn't have any maintenance history, 10 grand. But yeah, if she ends up finding like every single documentation of everything ever done, like
I'm guessing it's been dealer service because it's a Jag.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is these Jags is you can get really good deals on them because it's old people that own them, and they'll just hold every single receipt that they've ever received for it.
That was the mentality
it's
back in the
never
day,
been
yeah.
modified. Like, it's a great car. if it's all up in maintenance, so it doesn't need anything weird, tires are solid, and everything. Like, yeah, I think it could be $13,000 to $14,000 car.
So well worth her time to throw it on an actual auction website.
Yes, I would sell it. Bring a trailer, no reserve.
Yep.
And because the no reserves and get some more people involved in it.
probably should
It could
stick
go
this.
below that. Again, I don't know
feel
the
that.
exact specifics, but I would say if everything's solid on it, I would probably expect 13 to 14. But again, I've not personally seen it. I cannot say in this specific car. That's I'm saying on a low, probably.
But it's better than saying it depends,
It's
which
better
is the
than
answer
saying
she's going to get everywhere else.
Yeah.
But I think her son said around 10. I think if there's no documentation, that's fairly accurate. But with documentation, that can really help this car out. Because also, like, I saw pictures of it. It's kind of a kick-ass looking XK8.
Oh, okay.
Like, it looks really good. Like, it's automatic. But they're all automatic. I assume they're going to be automatic until proven otherwise. However, J-gate shifter, which is, like, a kind of a cool automatic. Like, I mean, as far as automatics go, like, just the shifting pattern of it's kind of nifty. Also, it's that era of Jaguar where they had the different logos saying the displacement on the hood.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
That's a weird thing, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I assume it's a 4.2.
Yeah, probably. But there are some other options I didn't see on it. Like, if it had the Brembo brakes, that'd be really cool. I would be shocked.
Does it have the two-piece wheels or the boring ones?
It looks like it's got the boring ones.
Okay.
So, likely...
Probably it is not a Brembo.
Probably not. But if it were to, that'd be very cool. There's some other, like, weird options that you can get on the inside and that it could have. There's 2 different kinds of navigation it could potentially have.
Hopefully neither.
Honestly, I kind of want the navigation just because the navigation, it's a separate screen.
Oh, no.
It's
Oh, I know
so-
what you're
yeah,
talking about.
it's
That's what
so-
Volvo used.
It's so goofy.
Oh,
It's
no.
literally the same one as Volvo.
Yeah.
I get it just because it's goofy. Like, that's the thing with these, like, 2000s cars. Like, there's going to be no car where, other than Lexus, where you're going to have decent navigation by today's standards.
The early 2000s Lexus nav sucks really hard, too.
But even by today's standards, it still
Yeah.
keeps up with Subaru from 5 years ago.
It's not high
Like,
praise, but yeah.
no,
but
but-
to your point, I mean, I kind of agree, because, like, 10 years ago, I'm like, get rid of this crap. Let's put in a factory tape deck or whatever. But, like, on the blue E46, like, I went out of my way to find, a
Exactly.
good 4x3 shit nav.
If it's got some of those
Because it's
goofy things, if it's got
hilariously bad.
if it's got the car phone in it, that'd be amazing.
Oh, I'm not
I-
taking that stuff out.
I always point, whenever I see a car phone in a car, I always call it out because they're totally cool. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if it affects value or anything, but I know for me personally, if I saw a car with a car phone, I'll throw another $500 of bidding into it. Yeah, maybe.
The Rolls has a cradled Nokia 34 series camera phone in it. I'm
love
like,
that.
this is dated by 2006 standards.
my
Yeah, that's
God.
great.
Definitely a phone from like 04 or 05.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's
like,
just still sitting in there in the cradle. I'm like,
yeah, like
that's so
I
dumb.
just think things like that are really cool. So
I want to turn it on and see if there's pictures on it.
Yes.
really-
Oh my god.
Do you
It's
want
gonna be
to?
like. Sorry, there's
because
this.
like if it
bum
was
in
on the Murcielago, you really don't want to turn that phone.
well.
I just hope you don't turn
Not
it
with your
on and
mother
it
in the
ends
car.
up like my 3DS.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to end up like Janice 3DS.
I won't even ask.
I will tell
That's
you
a,
off air.
That
I
is a
cannot tell you on
Patreon
air.
specific
Yep.
response that you'll hear.
Yikes. Okay.
But anyway, I would say with
And I
that.
bought it from a store too, so it's even more concerning.
Now, this is the thing. With that Jag, there's going to be some lifting that has to be done to put on Brand Trailer.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get the most money if it's on Brand Trailer. I would, again, no reserve. But you could do a no reserve premium.
I
where you
actually
get
suggested the premium with the photos
Yeah,
and
with the
everything. She
photos.
doesn't want to touch it.
Yeah, and I would do that, and then you just have to answer questions, and you can have your son answer the questions.
Right. Mhm.
And that kind of brings us to the second part of this is people that just do this for a living, like car brokers. And that kind of got to the next part here, which was,
We can cover that right now if you want.
yeah, let's just do that together because it kind of is just a natural flow here. We
Yeah.
have the car brokers and then the other half, which is people that just deal with insurance. Like, not just an agent, but like somebody, like an
On the
insurance
other side.
benefactor.
Yeah, I mean, it's what the agent should do for
But
their
isn't.
constituents, but they don't have the information to deal with it. And it's not entirely fair to them because there are some situations where if it's a family friend that's your agent, they will, because I mean they know the basics. Like the first offer is always going to be bullshit. So like do better.
Yeah.
And they may even look for comparables themselves and things like that, like with the SL. When that was totaled out, our farmer's agent we've known for a long time, really, really good dude. Their first offer
Yeah.
was so reasonable that we just ended up taking it.
Yeah.
Because they had done the legwork to do it. But in the case of Kurt, which I got back here, they're comps, and you have to be so careful with this stuff because people just they corner you, they call you instead of emailing you, and they go over all this stuff thinking you know nothing because you usually know nothing, and they make you feel like you have to take their offer, and there's no recourse.
Yeah.
They insisted that all of their comparables were manual transmissions and all 4-doors. One of them I think was a coupe. They were all automatics. And then they claimed that Corey's VIN pulled up as an auto. I'm like,
What?
I don't
That's
know
not true.
what's wrong with your Mitchell software, but it's wrong by, look at the pictures you took.
Yeah.
It's a 6-speed. And I am the authority in Minnesota for manual swapping BMWs. I maintained this car. I am
Yeah.
willing to put my reputation on the line to confirm that this came as a manual.
So I think there's something to be said for like somebody that would like just do this as a career. Like,
I think so too.
I think if you have somebody that's like not just like an appraiser, not just somebody does like
It's
an
an
insurance
advocate.
agent. I think like I would call it an automotive consultant. Like that'd
Which
be
is
what that is. It's
really-
consultantship.
It's really important because there's so many people that don't know the value of their car. Like, I follow somebody on TikTok who got rear-ended in a turbo PT Cruiser, and the insurance company of the person who rear-ended her was willing to give her $600, and I go, no, that's a turbo PT Cruiser.
Especially if the maintenance is abnormally good or if there's
Yeah.
any weird options.
And I was like, the car might not be worth much, but like my deductible for my same year car that's worth less than yours is $500. They should not be giving you only $600.
Even if that's in addition to the deductible $1,100,
Yeah.
I hate that vehicle. A turbo PT is worth more than that.
Oh, yeah.
It just is.
I would the cheapest turbo PT Cruiser I would say for like the cheapest you should ever get for that would be I'd say $2,000. That's made of
Yeah.
rust.
Oh yeah, piece of
Made
garbage.
of rust.
Yeah.
Like the worst one, but that's also a car that's appreciating. And
Yeah.
I think like with somebody that'd be like I'm a like consultant, is like you know what somebody that like handles the sale of vehicles and like deals with like
And
a
she-
car broker, but also deals with like they give you genuinely good advice because in that
Yeah,
in that
and
situation.
unfortunately, she did know that it was a turbo and that she knew that that was worth more, but
Yeah.
she still didn't know to what extent.
And that's just like having a sounding board, even if it's like a flat fee, just to ask a question, and then you establish your rate
Exactly.
for like, is it insurance advocacy? Is it maintenance questions?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
purchasing or selling?
Finding
like I think
rare parts.
yeah, I
I-
think that would, even if you're charging a substantial 20 or 30% fee, you would still have benefits on both ends substantially.
I think like with this situation with this PT Cruiser, where I think a important part of a consultant, like an advocate, like you said, would be not only don't take $600, take at least a minimum of $2,000, but also buy the car back. Like that's
Yeah.
another part that's very important. Where it's like
and people are like, well, I don't want it back. That doesn't matter because somebody does, and
Yeah.
they will pay you a lot more than you're paying for it.
yeah, like with our Accord, like we
Yeah.
bought that back because that car is worth. I could with what they gave me for the car, and then our repairs and what I'm gonna sell it for, I'm gonna get effectively twice as much money. Like and-
You're battling the IAA.
Yeah, and so like what you're dealing with is you're dealing with say like let's use like I'm not gonna use the actual numbers for the Accord,
Yeah.
but I'm just use like example numbers. Let's say our
You
Accord.
can just use percentages.
Well, I'm just gonna use made up numbers just because of what average is for this car since
Sure.
we're not done with everything, but like what an average Accord would be. Let's say we bought the car for say $500 because we got from a friend that didn't know what he was doing with it,
Just
and we
wanted
got
to
we
get
got
rid
it
of
we
it.
got for a good price. It was not $500, but then with the insurance, let's say they gave us $3,000, and we bought it back, and then we put another $400 of work into it. Well, now we're gonna sell it for another. We could sell it for $1,500 and have it done next day. That car will be
Right.
out of our life. Well, now I make 50% more back from that car. So I make, instead of having just a $500 car, I now got paid my $3,000, and
But
then
what would somebody have paid you? Like, assume on this payout where you got $3,000, they want $450 back for the car. What could you sell that car for in that condition to
Well,
somebody else? Because a
yeah.
lot of these people are not going to do repairs
exactly.
with anyone.
And so, like, let's say in the condition of the Accord right now,
yeah,
I could probably sell for $750.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a
Immediately.
come up.
That's still a come up. That's still a big chunk. That's more than your deductible was.
Yeah.
And so, and that's of course saying like there's no exhaust on it, the interior's been destroyed, and I need to remove a bunch of black spray paint from it.
But an advocate could handle listing it and selling
Exactly.
it for you.
And so when you have an advocate, like let's say we have this Accord where it's been now like what would have happened was if I didn't know what my car was worth, they could have said, well, you bought the car for $500, so we're going to give you $700, and you're going to make...
It's a good deal.
It's a great deal for you. And you know what? Yeah, that's a great deal for you. But you just left $3,000 on the table.
Yeah, and
right, because
like
you're not valuing it against a
the
real
thing
transaction.
is,
Exactly, yeah. And
like,
that's where consultants and advocates would come very, very
like,
handy.
in the case of the Accord, it was in a mechanic's family, so it was maintained, and then we maintained it, so even if we paid only $500 for it, it's worth way more than that. And they just sold it to us because we were friends. You know?
It was a friend deal, and we got it because they wanted to be done with it.
Yeah, and they had gotten another vehicle that was like turned into the shop. But like, and with like the PT Cruiser thing, it's like she already needed work done on it, where like a really hard to find part was missing, and it's like, in that case, you should buy it back. There's going to be an enthusiast that knows exactly where to get that part.
I mean, it's an SRT4 engine.
Yeah.
At very least, you have that, and those engines are getting hard to find.
Yeah.
You will never...
But that's a book value thing with the PT Cruiser.
Just Google SRT4 engine real quick to see how much they're worth. Like, neon SRT4 engine.
Yeah.
And then
And
Google and then go to shopping and see
I
what
don't
it
know
comes up
what-
with. Because I guarantee you're not going
I'm
to
going
find
to
that...
look at an actual salvage yard web.
But
you're not going to find that engine for a penny less than $3,500.
I don't know like what part of TikTok I'm on, but I keep finding people that just keep getting screwed by insurance because they do
Insurance
not know.
TikTok.
I guess I'm on insurance, but it's not even like on my For You page. It's people that I follow dealing with these weird issues, and I'm like, this is so weird. Like, Jacob got rear-ended, and I was like, why is everyone on my For You page getting...
$1,700 to $2,200 for a complete running known engine.
And that's at a salvage yard.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
And
she's
so
getting
from-
$600.
But yeah, and so from like a retailer that sells complete engines that are known quantities that are not just a salvage yard, and that again like removed and you can make 100% sure everything's good, like it would be more than that. So
Right.
yeah,
This came out of a daily driver.
yeah, $3,500 for like somewhere from like one of those Japanese engine like Tiger JDM or something. Like
Yeah, for a complete dropout with a trans, especially the auto, which like drag racers do use.
Yeah, annoyingly that auto actually is rather
Pretty stout.
And then I also see people that like get into accidents where like the other driver isn't insured, and they're like, well, it blah blah, and I go, I know you don't want the other person to get in trouble, but you're throwing out
Trust
literally
me,
thousands
those
of
insurance
dollars.
companies in a transaction like that sue those people,
Yes.
and the recovery goes towards your premium adjustment.
Yeah.
So
So I'm like, it's because like on your end, your insurance is going to go up because there's no other responsible party.
and that is something. I mean, if you're arguing a $750 payout into a $3,000 payout and it's a comprehensive claim, your rates will go up significantly more.
Yeah.
But still, you're better off taking the higher payout because it's not one for one.
I think another thing that's important about having an insurance advocate is it's not somebody that's not like necessarily a lawyer, but they'll tell you at what point a lawyer should be involved.
Yeah.
There's that, and I mean, it's just giving you like, is this normal? Is this not normal?
Yeah,
Like
this
it's giving
is-
you actual real world advice, and I think to people that has to be so valuable.
I think like
But it's for vehicles that where book values don't apply, essentially.
Yeah.
So anything old.
you're not going to be doing this with a Chevy Captiva.
No,
Like,
nobody.
no.
If you totaled your 3-year-old Equinox, you don't need an
No.
advocate. The book value's dead on.
And this is for a very specific thing. It's for like
Yep.
inheriting cars and like this lady's situation, having somebody be an advocate, like an automotive consultant,
Yep.
like just like a office that has an advocate and a seller, like two people, like somebody like you and somebody like me,
Yep.
working together in one business. Like that'd be perfect for them because then you're gonna have somebody that, you know what, frankly, like Bring Trailer, Cars and Bids, Bonhams, anywhere you sell a car, you're gonna have to deal with a litany of questions and a bunch of dumb people. And I know you don't like dealing with dumb people, like.
That is a character trait.
Yeah, that is a character.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know it's a very common thing. I come from a customer service background historically. I'm very used to dealing with dumb people, so I've got my, like, I'm okay with dealing with dumb people.
Yeah.
So like that's why I'm like, you know what, I would be great at selling cars for people. I'm not in this situation. I need to keep myself out because I work for Bring Trailer. I don't want to be involved on that end, but. In a different world, yeah, I could totally see myself doing that. Being
I'm also fluent in toddler speak, so
yeah. Speaking of
I'm
dealing
good at dealing with both sides.
Wow, you guys are doing so good with that listing, but let me help you, okay?
Friends,
But-
we shouldn't be doing this right now. Instead, let's go do this. I think that will work out better for us.
But yeah, so I think that there's something to be said for like I don't know why that doesn't really exist. Like
Yeah.
I've
It must,
I've
but-
heard of people like car brokers.
Yeah.
Like that's a common thing, but I've just not heard of insurance advocates or one business that does both. I've just not heard of that.
It just has to be because nobody knows how much insurance companies are taking advantage of you.
I honestly think that's the.
If you
the
dealt
end
with
of
it
there.
once, you wouldn't probably think about this, but when you deal with it every single time for, I don't know. I mean, I can't even count in the last 2 or 3 years how many
Because
times I've
you've
had to
dealt
fight
with-
an insurance company.
Yeah.
You've dealt with
It was-
Sarah's car.
Yeah, it was Kurt, it was Taxman, Mr. Wags.
Yeah.
There's been more. The SL. What else? The Element, the first Element.
The first one, yeah.
Um,
Just random friends. Just a bunch
yeah,
of random
no, I
friends.
mean, it's yeah,
No,
friends.
you
Yeah,
do you
your
deal with this
CRX.
regularly. Yeah,
But like, I
well,
cannot
my
stand
CRX is me.
when
Yeah,
people
but-
get taken advantage of. I just cannot handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really personally hate that.
And there's also like another thing where having that a third party that's not a vested interest.
It's a fiduciary responsibility. You'd have to line that out where like your best interest as a client needs to be completely legally in line with what I'm doing for you.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think another thing is like having a third party here, where it's like I'm not part of the. I'm not part of the insurance company, nor am I a lawyer. I'm not
Right.
giving you legal
Right.
advice.
Yep.
That's why I'm saying if you come to a point where I need to reference you to a lawyer, I can.
Mhm.
But like as of right now, this is what I would do in this situation. Me as a third party
Right.
that does not own this vehicle, and me as a third party that is just looking at this from an objective, like
Yep.
something like a
As
brain
somebody
trailer,
who's dealt with this before,
kind of how what Brain Trailer does
Yep.
with writing listings. This is a third party.
historically, this is what happens in this situation.
This is an objective listing, and we are like for us, like we would love for you to sell your car, but we're not going to lie to do that.
Right.
And then on the like good karma, when you had to deal with insurance, wasn't it hard for the shops to deal with insurance as
A
well?
pain in the butt. Like seriously, like my least favorite thing was dealing with insurance companies and warranty companies. Like having an advocate that would just do that for me. Like I would totally have paid.
And
for
it
that.
would save you and like the service advisor so much time.
Bingo.
That's
and it would
huge.
save the insurance companies too.
I
Because
think-
like
yeah.
most of these things that I went through took 90 days.
Yeah, I
Do you
think
know
if-
how much time that took not only from us but for those people and what they're paid?
for everybody. It
Storage
just
And
makes
fees.
then
sense
with the
to have
pandemic,
somebody that
nobody
does
can
that.
come out and look at the car, so everything's taking 3 months
Yeah.
at a minimum.
I didn't deal with it at all in 2020. So
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
we did during 2020. And,
It
it was wild.
Nightmare.
But yeah, I think having somebody that can actually do that and be like, and just break down like into like layman's terms, like a non-vested layman's terms, like, hey, you need to do this. Like, it's like one of my favorite things was when I had somebody had a warranty.
Yeah.
I Good Karma, and I'm just like, hey, you have a warranty. You need to do these timing chains right now.
Yeah.
Should I sell the car? No, you have a warranty. Just do it. Like, it's nice to have,
Covered.
be as a third party, not have to worry about making a sale, not have to worry about this, that, and the other thing.
All right.
And with the insurance company, it's just like, you know what? You don't have to deal with pissing off your customer. And like, you're gonna.
If they just started with an actual objective fair offer, they would save so much money.
And I think, yeah, and like having this like be like somebody who's just knowledgeable instead of like having to deal with like, because I'm sure like while you give them real comps,
Right.
like
They're
there's
using
so
a
many other
system.
people. Yeah, there's other people that are probably sitting there and they have their like 1999 Jaguar like XJ8 like car, not XK, but like the sedan.
Yep. So-
And like their car got rear-ended and it's got 200,000 miles and they're yelling at the insurance company because they look on on Brain Trailer bottoms to see all
Right.
these like
Wrong year, wrong
XJR,
mileage,
all these like
no
XJR
service history.
100s,
Yeah.
like with like 4,000 miles and they go for 40 grand. They go, my car's 40 grand. It's like, no, dude, you have a $2,000 car here.
But I mean,
Like-
those systems are built like if you keyed in like a really rare XJR or whatever with all the condition adjustments, it should zero out to the same amount.
Yeah, and it's just.
But it's not
you're
going
dealing
to.
With, you're dealing with a human that is not.
But the problem is
knowledgeable.
they're hiring non-knowledgeable humans to do these jobs, so the system has to pick up that slack, and the system is wrong, and none of these errors are getting caught, so it's inadvertently, potentially, partially screwing over the person who's paying the insurance company in the first place, which is you, with your premiums.
Yeah.
Another good place for the advocate would be for like women that take their cars to shops.
Oh God, yes.
Because I refuse to take my car anywhere but Good Karma, because every time I do, so I know my Sienna has sludge in it. I know there's other problems, like my steering rack leaks, but I don't want to fix it because I hate
it doesn't matter.
The automatic steering.
Honestly,
I
if you don't care about the drips on your driveway, who gives a shit?
Yeah, and it doesn't even drip that much.
It only drips under pressure.
But there's a bunch of problems in my Sienna that I already know about, and if I wanted to fix them, I would. But whenever I take my car to anywhere,
it's a 20-year-old car. Yeah, it's gonna have some problems.
Anytime I take my car other than Good Karma, I get a tech that brings me to the back to scare me into doing something to my car because there's sludge in the engine, and I tell them, oh no, I actually know, I'll clean out the engine myself, no big deal. And they go, ma'am, you can't use a hose. And I go, no, I'm not going to use a freaking hose. I just
have don't want to do my
an
oil
engine
change.
Cleaner. I just don't want to sit in my driveway.
And that's a problem. If you still have
oil
oil pressure, you can fix that over time with a bunch of oil changes and a bunch of filters.
Yeah, exactly. It's also just sometimes people just want to go to a shop because they don't want to do a particular job.
Yeah.
Right.
So having an advocate, also...
That's a great idea, though,
that's
because
another
I got a bunch of bids from when Gib took her old 5 Series into a shop that they used and trusted, and I'm like, I have receipts for doing all of these parts on your car.
Yeah. So,
they just don't...
I think that's, really important. Also, it'd be really helpful having an advocate where, the shop's trying to explain this, and the advocate can talk to the shop, and the shop can be like, well, it needs this, this, and this, and the advocate can know it's something knowledgeable. It can say, all right, show me. Show me exactly what this is. No,
right.
that's a totally reasonable amount of sludge for a Toyota 3.3 liter.
Yeah, and I've also talked with trans women who would take their car, knowledgeable as a man, and they had no problems with it. They take it after transitioning, and everyone's talking down to them.
Yeah.
Because and they're like, no, I know exactly, and I've taken my my car here before, and you didn't do this to me. So.
I feel like when I get older, I'm gonna probably open up a business that does this when I'm in my 40s.
As I get angrier, this will probably become more important to me. So yeah, probably.
When you're done making a bunch of money.
I was gonna say when we're retired, we can go into advocacy.
Yeah, because it's just it's
just for health benefits.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating because I only send my female friends to Good Karma
because we know that. Yeah.
I know Keith's gonna take care of them, and I don't know their new other advisor, but
you know that at the end of the day,
company.
If Bill found out that somebody was being sexist, he would totally fire them, 100%, nonstop.
They always go, oh,
where'd he go? Oh, he was being sexist. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Exactly.
He would have no cap about that. It'd be absolutely done immediately.
And people are like, well, this place is closer, and it doesn't. They charge this much, and I always tell them, I go, no, go here because they're gonna do the job right.
Or get an estimate with photos and then send it to
there's
a couple
gonna
people.
be, if it's cheap, sometimes when you have an advocate here, you're not gonna have to deal with that unknown thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a third party. It's again, you're not a commission-based advocacy or anything.
It's fiduciary.
It's entirely fiduciary.
You're based on a fee.
Yeah.
It's a pre-agreed thing ahead of time, and you can establish, the comfort level even of the person. This is a 20-year-old car. Yes, that part is leaking oil. Does it matter? Hell no.
Exactly. Again, when it comes to not going to be on your normal daily, it wouldn't be on the Sienna, obviously, but if you were having a similar issue with, say, your Buick, or if if, say, your father ended up with Skinny's Edsel.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, God.
But I mean, just saying, something like that where it's somebody ends up with, somebody has a collector car, and they love the car, but they aren't entirely knowledgeable on that specific car. That'd be
or a collection, a family member dies.
Exactly. Yeah. I would absolutely I would do that with the Jaguar actually. Yeah, because there's enough weird stuff that happens on Jaguars. I don't want to track it.
Yeah.
I would totally do this with a Jaguar, or if it's my personal car, and I'm just sitting here trying to maintain it, and if I have a Jaguar, obviously I'm gonna have several other cars.
Yeah.
By the time I put a Jaguar in my personal collection, it will be my 10th or 11th car. But I will love it, but it's not gonna be my first on my list.
Right,
I do appreciate the hell out of them. I think they're cool as hell, but it's just not top of the list.
It's just.
But yeah, no, I would totally do that. But anyway, I think that we've covered.
I think that's
what makes that really important. I want to talk about another thing that was just wild.
Cool.
So you remember, the 2017 Aston Martin V12 Vantage S Roadster is like a fairly new car.
Oh, it is, but yeah, that's also kind of like the last of a last of a last of a
I
last
know,
of a
I know.
last. That's
But
a 6-speed?
it's totally, yeah, it's 7. But it's like it's totally within like the still
I forgot they
depreciate.
used the Tremec.
Yeah, it's still totally within like it should be depreciating range.
Yeah.
And like I'm pretty sure most of the automatics are still depreciating. This one sold for more than the MSRP. Why don't you
Which
throw it on the
was
screen?
considerable.
Yeah, and what was that price again?
$288,000.
What?
Now, if you scroll down, it says MSRP in the sticker. There's a picture of the Maroni right there. And what was written down there? It says
It won't blow up. $266,538. So almost, oh wow, more than $20,000 over.
yeah, talk about a come up.
$21,500 over. And how many miles were on it? 4,000. So
I
not
feel-
many.
Somebody,
1,000 miles a year.
So if you're buying this car, you're driving 1,000 miles a year, you're not making payments on it. This is a cash deal.
Correct. And also, that's a lot of miles a year for
Yeah.
a car that's
This
not
car-
your
that car is
primary.
loved, yeah.
Because like I can speak personally to this. Like 1,000 miles a year on a car is a lot when you're
Yeah.
taking out on little trips, and
Mhm.
it's a luxury.
So yeah, that car, that car is a very, very good purchase decision. So
I just realized I didn't have the notes up on the screen.
yeah,
for
it's
you.
been
I'm
very
sorry.
difficult for me.
Should have said something.
Yeah, it's all right. I was in the moment, but yeah,
That's
that's just
ridiculous.
insane.
I mean, it's very well optioned, great colors and everything, but wow, that's just the world we live in right now.
It-
Why not just buy a brand new V8 Vantage 6-speed?
because
I guess that's not a V12.
it's not a V12, and it's also not a convertible.
Fair point.
It's a convertible manual V12 Aston Martin.
And the Fisker Vantage is beautiful.
Yeah, let me tell you what. If somebody asked me to buy a V12 Aston Martin convertible manual, I wouldn't have to look at the car. I'll tell you, yeah, I want that.
Oh, yeah,
it doesn't
it's
matter
going
what
to be
car.
a good combination of things.
There's no way that car is gonna not be great. I'm trying to think of the worst possible way to get that combination of things, and it's still very desirable.
I was going to say it's a DB7 Volante.
and that's not a bad thing.
No, I would still
I
drive
would
that.
I would drive the hell out of an EV7 Volante. And a great car.
That's a rare bird, too. Those are probably worth a pretty penny.
Yeah, so that's a very, very good vehicle. That's very well bought on both ends. The person that originally bought it.
Very well,
this
that's
person.
true. Arguably better for the seller, but yeah.
No, I think everybody's right, because the dude that just bought it, he's going to make more than the seller did, and the seller just bought a brand new car.
It's probably, yeah, that is brand new. I mean, I've seen loaners with more mileage than that, so.
But I mean, like, the seller, like, he bought that, the person, or, yeah, everybody that bought that car has made money on it. That's a great car. That's a blue
And the
chip.
thing I always come back to on those listings is, like, you look at the last few bids, it's more than 2 people. Like,
Yeah.
there are several people willing to pay that much money for that car right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Whenever you see something where it sells for like a really bananas price, if I bring it up on here, like there's more than 2 bidders. Yeah. So
I actually want to talk about another Bringer Trailer car real quick.
I saw this one.
That I think went for too little money.
Yeah. Why don't you click on the photo and bring it up? Because
So-
yes, that.
Set the stage for the audio listeners. This is a V160 6-speed, 1-owner, 7,000-mile red on black Toyota Supra Turbo, Mark IV.
Okay.
1 owner,
Yeah.
7,000
Yeah.
miles. What do you think that's going to sell for? I said $250,000.
Yeah.
Easily.
At least.
Yeah, it sold for below that.
It sold for
was
201, and the bidding was
What?
slow at the end. The comments
I
were
would-
going absolutely
I would-
shit nuts.
I think right now that's fair because that's double what the record is right now. I would say this car.
No, there was a 20,000-mile one that sold for high twos, I thought.
No, they're in the hundreds, but this car right here.
This should have gone for more.
It will in 10 years, I'm sure. The Supra has no limit right now.
It's a 1-owner, 7,000-mile Super Turbo.
And the thing is like the Super Turbo, like the 90 Super Turbo, that's like everything to millennial car buyers. Like this is, I'm trying to think of like what the boomer
I
equivalent
think-
would be. I think would be like
68 Camaro.
no, I would say a manual, a 4-on-the-floor Hemi, traction lock, rear end, convertible, Challenger. No, Hemi Cuda, because that'd be
Cuda.
even rarer. Yeah, more rare.
I was gonna say, I think the similar option. I mean, there's one for each one of the big 3, but it's one of
yeah.
those boomer cars. But yeah, like a Cuda convertible.
It's one of those cars, like, I can't even think of the Gen X car that would be like that. Because, like, I can't think of like a...
E30 M3.
What? Even then, like, there's too many of them. that are like, because like,
They made less than 5,000 of them.
well, all right, I should say, there's too many for the market because this is a car like there wasn't really a single Gen X car that captured the entire market. Like you could ask,
That's true.
you can ask anybody under the age of 40, and every single person that's under the age of 40 will say yes, the Turbo Supra is a cool car. Like even you don't like the car.
No, it's a
And
great, it's a great car.
you don't
I
know-
just it isn't the best car, and that's
It's still a cool as hell
Yeah,
car.
oh, I agree.
Everybody, you can get some like
Nobody
you can
hates
get
the Supra.
Every-
you can get the most lentil-matic, like you can get Sybil, and she would say that's a
They
cool
would
as fuck
say.
car. Or sorry, they would say that's a cool as fuck car.
This
Yeah.
has the gold package too, so I mean, that's how you know it's
So I have a theory on why we sold for so little. We don't have money right now.
good. And I think you're dead on
I
because
think-
the people that are shopping for E30 M3s, because like this, there's a perfect analog to this car that sold 6 months ago in Breaking
Yeah.
Trailer E30 M3. It was like it had like a new fender. It had some paint work, but it was a 2-owner car and it had 14,000 miles and it sold for $250,000 because there are some Gen Xers that have that kind of money now.
Yeah.
And millennials, like there are some, but not many.
I think
No, and,
well,
and the people that do don't want to spend that
But there
much money right
aren't
now.
that many, and there weren't that many bidders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I would say 5 years, 10 years from now, when we're not coming out of recession, when every millennial that had any sort of money didn't just put it into a house, yeah, that would be.
I'll go
that's
with 5
good.
years.
Yeah, I'd say 5 to 10. 10 is going to be probably back in another recession, but yeah, 5 years from now, this car will be at $350,000.
The gold package includes a
Yes.
gold antenna
Oh, I'm
grommet.
Wow.
Wow.
Acutely aware of how, all the cool stuff in the gold package. Toyota did the gold package. It's all put on at the dealer, and it's all cool as hell. I'm really, really annoyed.
I
don't
like
have
90s gold packages.
gold packages need to make a comeback. They're cool as
I
hell.
only like them on black cars, but I really like
I like them on all cars. I just
That's
love
fine.
gold packages.
Anyway, I think this car sold for too little.
yeah,
so
no, you're right. I would say right now it's fine, but moving, yeah.
fair but low. Anyway. I had to cover that because it stood out to me. I was watching the bidding and I couldn't believe it.
So why don't we? Let's talk about yours. 'cause
Yeah, since we did
moved
the
ours, yeah.
advocacy thing, you can chime in on this too because it is kind of political. But this is a big deal for Minnesota, whether you like it or not. We finally signed in and adopted the California Clean Air Standards here
For
in
new
Minnesota
cars.
for new cars.
Not for
new
used cars.
Not for used cars. So we're not coming to smog your catless Evo. We don't give a shit. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
for
Wisconsin's
like
problem.
2030, and it's not even this year. It's like I guess it'll be 2025.
Okay, not bad.
That you got some time. If you want a new car right now to take to your grave, just go buy it in the next 3 years. It doesn't matter. But,
Also,
I mean,
we're surrounded by red states. Go to any other state and buy a car from somewhere else. You're
dude,
fine.
somebody
Like-
posted this in the Cars and Coffee Facebook group,
Yeah,
and you just
booing about
immediately
it.
Is
saw.
all the people I've noticed? I was watching that. I looked at all the people that responded to that negatively. None of them have money. This isn't going to affect anybody that's complaining.
Nope.
Everybody's. It's like when.
Also, none of them read the article.
Well, yeah, no. It's like when people were complaining about the FRS not having enough power. It's like no, you can afford it anyway. Like get
Right.
bent.
Like you weren't a buyer.
Yeah, it wasn't for you.
Yeah, you're driving
This is-
around
this
in a
doesn't-
20-year-old expedition.
Yeah, this doesn't
matter.
pertain to you. And
So-
don't say that you can, because I know you can't. You might have money, but you don't have the credit. Like,
So, yeah, I inadvertently picked a really like shitty KSTP article, but like
I hate
essentially
KSTP so much.
it really promotes EVs. It
Yeah.
does change like it adds a state subsidy and for the used cars, which is huge.
Well, that's good.
The federal stuff that's upcoming will handle most of the new stuff.
This will affect me, because
Even
my
the
next car I'm going to
registration.
get is going to probably be an EV.
Yep.
If it's not a Mirage, it will be an EV.
Maybe they'll make an EV Mirage.
Ooh.
Yeah, the thing is with the Mirage versus an EV would be entirely insurance based, because
I hope that changes.
So
Yeah.
I didn't really read into this too much because I didn't have time, but I did
That's
see that
fine.
it's like only for like new cars, and it's to encourage manufacturers to make more electric cars for
It's
the state.
Yeah,
Mainly
it's-
subsidies, and then it's the reason why the 500E was only sold
Yeah.
in 1.5 states is because the legislation it's a compliance vehicle. So I mean, yeah, holding them to like sure make your V10 cars. I don't care if you give me an EV.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Like we're not taking away anything that people like. Like I was telling people at our member social here yesterday, it was a huge Shelby guy,
Yeah.
a nice enough fella, but like
Mouth breather.
late
Yeah,
Gen
he's-
X. Yeah. We're talking about autos, manuals, and all this stuff, and I brought this up, and he's like, "Well, I don't want to do this and that." I'm like, "We're not taking away anything you like, and by the time this
Just
actually
adding
goes into
fun
effect,
things.
you won't give a shit anymore."
No.
It's like we went into talking about the Mach-E. I'm like, you know what? That's actually a really good vehicle. I was like, yeah, a buddy of mine has when I drove it. That was actually pretty good. And
Yeah.
like this was a guy that owns 9 Mustangs, and he wasn't mad about it.
It's not a Mustang though. It's
It
It's a
isn't.
Galaxy.
The reason why they did the Mustang thing, though, was to entice people that own Mustangs
Yeah.
currently. And you know what? It's working.
That's weird. That's
Because
so
like,
annoying.
we
and
wouldn't
weird.
buy a Mustang, and we wouldn't buy a Mach-E, because it's a Mustang.
Yeah,
But the reason why people are buying Mach-E's is because their badge does a Mustang.
it's so
Yeah.
weird.
Which
That's
is
so
that was
weird.
mind-blowing to hear that from
So-
somebody who actually owns Mustangs.
Can you look up 2007 Mercury Montego?
Yes. Oh my
But
God.
I
why?
think like
Because one second, I'm just going to explain my Mach-E thing.
Okay.
Right now,
Just
I got
give me a
images.
sec. Yeah, I can work an
This
internet.
is on 2007 Mercury Montego, right?
We all agree on this,
Yes,
right?
that's exactly what it looks like. It's a Ford 500 Ford Taurus. Now,
When was the last time you saw one of these with all the body panels on it?
never. Now, when you look up a 1969 Mercury Montego MX,
And for the people listening, the
that is a muscle
2008 Mercury Milan is
Montego.
Montego, not the Milan. That would be
Very
a
different,
Fusion. The Montego is like a full-size beige. It's
boring
it's,
sedan.
It's a Volvo S80.
It's front-wheel drive.
It's what the Ford Explorers and the Tauruses were based on.
Yeah, it's a front-wheel drive
Yep.
car.
Could get them with all-wheel drive.
The original one was rear-wheel drive. It was a full-sized NASCAR homologation muscle car, but nobody knows what the hell it is.
Correct. I didn't know
And-
that existed until
Exactly.
just now. Yep.
And so,
Let me double back here.
yeah, between the two of them, if they called the Ford Mach-E the Ford Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
that would have not alienated non-Mustang buyers,
Yeah.
Right.
but would have also gotten muscle car buyers excited.
I am in full agreement.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that's what I was using, because
People
this
forgot
was,
that this was a moniker when they introduced
and they had a great
this moniker.
and they just used it again, and it was fine. It was whatever, but it didn't piss anybody off.
to summarize what the article and the law are saying is, we'll get more Fiat 500s.
Yeah,
and
effectively.
Maybe we'll get a Mirage E because they want to bring back an Evo. I don't know.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this with Ben because I accidentally came out about having bought a Fiat. He goes, "Wait, you want a Fiat?" And we
LOL.
moved past that as fast as I could.
Yes,
You
it's a
didn't
great
know?
car
What?
and bought at a very
You
good
post
time.
about
apparently.
it all the
actually
time.
I told him I'm like, yeah, no, like I'm like, I literally it came up because we were talking about Mirages. And I said no, I was about to buy a Mirage, and it came up to what came first, the perfect spec Mirage or the perfect spec Fiat, and the perfect spec Fiat came out first.
And also, it was cheap.
Yeah, and so like I was just thinking about like,
And they're undercoated.
Gas has been very expensive lately.
I have actually noticed that because I've driven gas cars a lot recently. I'm like,
that's-
whoa!
I'm somebody that puts an 87 into everything. And so
$20
the Fiat
filled
for the
up half
first
tank
yeah
in my
the
car.
the Fiat for the first time got 88 octane, and it
Well,
worked.
it's
It
high
worked.
ethanol, so
It worked but I would not do that normally.
No,
that
yeah,
was-
it probably wouldn't. My car, my 124, same engine, with a stock tune. It is amazing how much it hates mid-grade.
Yeah, it's really wild.
Because I had
Like,
to
it
do
does
that on the
not
way
like
home
it.
from New York. There was one shitty gas station that, like, yeah, I had to put. It was 89, but getting on the
It's
highway.
like 379. I'm like, I'm not putting that in my freaking normal car. Like my limit is 350. 350 is like the max I will spend. So I went back down and put some gas in. I got a full tank of 350, but
I wish that there was an active tune switcher on my car because I would flash it with an 87 like 3 psi tune just
Yeah.
for when I'm doing a road trip because I don't care.
actually, that's what I like about the Sport. Because when I put it in sport mode, power,
Switches tunes.
non-sport, that's no power.
But when you flash it too, with most of the off-the-shelf flashes, you can do a dual map
Yeah, and
with the
that's,
sport button.
I just kept it out of sport, and actually, it drove fine out of sport. There's a couple times like I use sport mode as a overdrive switch because I don't quite want to shift down, but I don't really want to like take forever to get to speed. So I wanted to pass it. I put it in the sport for like 2 seconds, and I'll take it out of sport. But yeah, when I did that once with 88, it was weird, and I turned that off. I'm not doing that anymore.
Put a tank of E30 in your Fiat once. It's hilarious.
Really.
It'll take a little while to crank and start, but no check engine light, and it's
Quite
poppy. I mean, it's fast. It
The-
makes real good boost.
There's more than a couple of people have done E85 tunes on Abarths, and they're like,
Dude.
it's very worth it. I'm like, I really want to do that.
Those engines respond really well to tuning. I bought an intake finally. I'm working on the big turbo, downpipe, crosspipe, tune. I'm gonna go bananas on it, but
Once I'm done with my warranty, I might do that. I
Yeah.
just don't want to void a warranty or anything.
I understand. I waited until mine was gone too.
So, no. So, but anyway, I want to talk about. We mentioned this before we even started. We're talking
We
about
did.
out of market USDM cars in Japan, and what the hell,
Dude,
So-
seriously. I mean, you were telling me about, I forget what it even was.
Yankee stuff.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
how they have like a huge custom hot rod and lowrider culture there,
Yeah.
and it's like
It's
even,
modified
like,
Americana.
Yeah, like when you like look up like lowrider, like hashtag lowrider on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
like half, maybe a third, I'll say a third of the posts will come from Japan, and like for a
That's so
country
weird.
that like isn't known for that, like that's a really like sizable amount, like even by population standards,
Well,
by
they're
anything.
Not
Like,
known for American cars either.
No, but if you have a lowrider in Japan, there's such a high cost of entry that you do it perfectly, because
Sure.
you get taxed per liter even on used cars. They should get taxed per liter more on used cars than you do new cars.
And a lot of old American cars have very massive engines.
So let's take for instance my Buick, which is a 6.6 liter, and Moon Eyes Japan has one as a press car. They have a 62 with Sabres, a 2-barrel, and they just put my intake and 4-barrel on it. But yeah, it's
Jana's
not
intake?
not a well, not one. But
I know. I can't help but remind you.
in my
I do that all the time.
in my
Good.
conversation, like that it's not
Right.
yours.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I own 20%, no, 10% of the Mercy, and it's just easier to say, yeah, it's my car.
Yeah.
It's more mine than yours, so it's mine.
Yeah, it's just easier to say at that point in
Yep,
time.
I get you.
So yeah, but what that causes, it causes them to like have this like very unique, like really high quality style, because like they're building these cars to the quality that they were built in, higher than they were
Sure.
built in the 60s.
Well, I
and,
mean, yeah, they're building up to Japanese quality.
Yeah.
and they're built differently than they were built in America, because they're making similar parts but not the exact same. And so they do these like really cool things where they'll do like a traditional 60s style car, but they'll do, you know, like in Japan, like it's really big to do like on Civics, you have like Mugen and Spoon and stuff where
Yeah.
they accent the factory and stuff, completely change it.
OEM plus almost.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I say like Mugen and Spoon and stuff like that, not like Veilside or something. Like they also have ridiculous things.
Right.
But these are more of like a equivalent where it's like an OEM plus almost, where like they do customize it and it's noticeably customized, but instead of contrasting a car, it complements the car.
Is Mugen in-house from Honda now?
Yes, they
I
are.
thought so.
They were owned by Hirotoshi Honda, Soichiro Honda's son,
Okay.
for the longest time, but they were not technically in-house, but now they're finally actually in-house.
For me, this is like a Brabus or an AMG. Like
Kind of, yeah. It's like that.
It's so in line that they like interchange factory
It literally could,
warranties.
and then instead of doing that with like modern cars, they're just doing it with classic
Yep.
cars.
I get
But it's it's actually like a wealth thing, because I showed you that dealership that had just like a bunch of like used
Yeah, what the hell? Like a
trucks.
Tahoe and a Trailblazer.
And so like that's just like a big flex move. Like in America, like it's the equivalent of, the best way to describe it is like when you would have a Euro market car in the 80s.
or
Except-
driving like an R32 Skyline 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, no, not quite like that, because that's not as like mainstream. But like, it's more mainstream in Japan. So like my Japanese teacher, when I was in college, his dream car was a Cadillac Seville. Because
Oh, that's a terrible fucking
his
car.
when he was in Japan, his dad had a first generation Seville. Like his dad like was a big salary man and a boss and everything. And like when he made all of his money, he imported a Seville. And it was
Didn't you sell your grandpa's
yeah,
car
I,
to
not
Japan?
personally,
But like,
yeah, my family did. They sold it as Chevy, but that made a little bit more sense, because it was a 283. It was under 5 liters.
Oh.
It wasn't as terribly taxed.
I was gonna say, I pictured them importing like 4100s, like the worst engines, because they were much smaller
And
displacement.
that's actually the thing, is that you get a lot of these weirdo cars, and like why like Mustangs are really popular in Japan.
6-cylinders.
But no, you have they have really small like V8s.
Oh, they still import the 289s.
yeah, like the first gens, they always had like really small V8s.
Small, but yeah, 4.5 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
by
like
comparison.
it's a huge flex. If you come out with like a Cobra Jet, like it's just insane. Like in Japan, like you're
Yeah, I've got a
just-
429.
what?
Well,
Like-
A, convert it to liters so I can react, and then
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so you see a lot of these like weirdo kind of like builds and stuff, but some are built or based on like Japanese, like the 50s cars are also very popular, because they're a little bit easier to import because of the displacement. They had smaller V8s in the 50s. I know that sounds weird. Like
flatheads were tiny.
no, I mean like all of them. Like for you to get like there weren't really any like 100 cubic inch.
No, there were
engines in the
265s and 220s.
Exactly.
And all that
Yeah,
kind
like
of stuff.
even like the nailheads were like pretty small throughout the 50s. It wasn't until 60s where these engines got huge, and so a lot of these like 50s cars are a little bit easier to get. But yeah, like out of market USDM cars from Japan, like it's a huge flex for like normal people. But then on top of it, building it, it's also flex, and there's such a high cost of entry to build it. You really have to build well, and that's why you get so many like cool
Yeah,
builds.
because you have to stay within emissions as well.
Oh yeah, you have to pass shock-in on these cars and everything. And yeah, you try passing shock-in on a hot rod.
Well, hopefully they have EFI and like 3-way catalytic converters then, because I don't know how they're doing that.
No idea.
With that kind of compression ratio.
And they'll be like there's like I've seen photos of like 32 T-buckets with like Hemis and like triple carburetors and a shock-in inspection sticker in the window. I'm like,
Somebody's
what?
getting paid. Yeah,
I'm like,
I don't buy that.
This has got a ton of money. I'm imagining this entire exhaust system's like cat.
Yeah, probably has
cat,
like 8 cats
cat.
on it. Oh my god.
It's not triple carburetors, it's triple like EFIs.
Air pumps?
It's just triple Holly EFIs. They
It
just look
actually
like
has
carburetors.
one of those carbon eating machines in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it uses DPI.
Oh my god.
As well, just everything to get it to the bare minimum of shock-in.
I was gonna say just stacking air pumps so it
To
pumps
be-
fresh air into the exhaust.
To be fair, also Japan's emissions are like way easier to pass than ours. Like it's really weird. They're
Oh, interesting.
yeah, I know. That's
I
why.
just assumed they were harder than California.
No, that's why you like it's so difficult to import R32s and R34s into California. Is like none of the Skylines ever passed
Okay.
emissions. Like so, if you're importing like an R32, I think I'd have to double check this, but it's like a few $1,000s more. Like because
Yeah.
that's like a lot of people go through Top Rank, like through Brian, is because Top Rank will actually carb pass a Skyline. It's very expensive to do that. You have to like throw on catalytic converters and stuff,
Yeah.
and like chokes the power down. But you can then daily drive a R32.
Right. Which
So-
is for a lot of people buying those in the state where they are,
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah, big deal. So,
Especially if you like want to register it, where you're buying it.
so yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because we were talking about that off air, and I
It-
thought it was just a really interesting thing.
The flex thing makes more sense because I saw a Trailblazer on like a walkthrough of Tokyo parked in like what looked to be a very valuable downtown parking spot. I'm like, what the hell?
And it makes sense. The 4.2s, like that makes sense
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
an Isuzu engine. So just
It's a good engine.
you
The
can just
LL8's
go-
good,
You just go find it, and
but it's a terrible vehicle.
you'll get the
And
parts. But
big.
yeah, and then I mean, if you're into like just Japanese, what would Japanese off-roading be like? There's nowhere off-road.
I don't.
A dirt road somewhere?
I don't
Like,
no, they're doing the same thing there as they are here. They're mall crawling.
yeah,
but like
it's a weird. Like,
it's one of those
flex
things.
thing.
In 20 years, you're gonna import your Trailblazer from Japan because it's gonna be in way better shape,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like an Astro today,
or like a Typhoon or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, same thing.
or my grandpa's '57
Yeah.
Bel Air. I'll probably find that somewhere in Japan. There was a so I watched that Japanese auction Facebook page,
Yeah.
and there was a pre-war Cadillac that was there, and it was like, oh, you can hit it, go for it. It was like a 6.5 liter, like V12 or something. I didn't look
That's
that
actually
hard.
pretty small.
Or V16 or something. I don't know, but it was like a massive engine for the car, and it was all original. It was just like it was like totally a car. It was like Concours style restoration, like in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm like, somebody totally imported this in like 1992 and then lost their shirt in 1994, and then it just like sat parked for the next 30 years.
It is kind of weird how in a lot of cases you can tell what decade a restoration was done in.
Yeah, you can see like, oh, this car, every piece of trim is chrome trim. There's no actual stainless steel,
Well,
so
it's
over
just like an
restored.
architecture. Like I love. I mean, we're all fans of
Yeah.
architecture here, but I love looking at renovated houses because, like, I love mid-century or like Art Deco and like Victorian homes, and I like seeing taste like not restored, not like remodeled.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where they call something restored and it's remodeled, and I go, what the heck? But the other
that's
day,
why-
changing something that's not a
That's
restoration.
how
Yeah,
I work. We
and-
say refurbish versus restore. Unless you
Yeah.
have documentation of every single part being replaced on that car,
Yeah.
we will say refurbish. Like,
recently I saw a Frank Lloyd Wright home that had been renovated in the late 90s, early 2000s.
oh no.
And you could tell that because the Frank Lloyd Wright estate is really, really picky, and you have
As
to
they should be.
approve of them. But this house somehow escaped that, and you could tell it was remodeled in the 90s and 2000s. And I was like,
Did it have
what
white
did you
oak
do?
trim?
Something like that. I was just like, oh my god, what did you do? And then I saw a house that's being sold for only 1.3 million in LA. That's a different architect, but it was 60s, and it was like lightly remodeled, where you can see that they did modern finishes, but they kept with the 60s theme, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Because they did like, you know, the mid-mod now, where they just did like a black backsplash in the kitchen.
Sure.
To divide up all the wood in the inside.
Yeah, I mean, you can use modern materials to nod at least to a style that you're trying to maintain.
Exactly, and so it was like they kept all the, you know, architecture, but like the little bits were updated, and my mind was blown, because there's so many times where you see something that's remodeled and it's completely ruined, whereas this was
I was going to say, the term is actually just ruined.
So,
it was great.
just in the name of timing,
Mm-hmm.
this episode's going a little long. Let's,
Oh.
yeah, we are.
Yeah, I know, I said OPE.
Yeah, sorry.
OPE exclamation
Let's talk about
point.
your thing, and then let's
Okay.
talk about my last thing. We'll move the other two in the middle, because those aren't really time considerate.
Let me just make the notes now so I don't forget. All right. So we talked about advocacy earlier on, and now I'm actually going to bring back to something we talked about. Well, I talked at you guys about 2 weeks ago.
I'm going to do like my actual last one.
Okay. Well, I'll fix that.
I'll figure that
Okay.
after you're done with this. We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Lost my train of that.
Advocacy.
Insurance
yeah.
buybacks.
So anyway, I am inadvertently sometimes, intentionally.
Except you don't get paid.
I take it upon myself because, again, I hate when I see especially good people getting taken advantage of.
It's your lot in life. It's like me with selling cars. Yeah.
Pretty much. So I'm a huge piece of shit, but I will help people when they're good people. So Kurt, Corey, my roommate's 2011 slick top E90 328i 6-speed. Really strange car.
Actually, it's more like me helping people with poor credit than I know get into a good car.
Good people helping good people. You're like Denny Hecker, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly.
Except you actually are good.
No, I'm actually like, I try to help my friends that
Right.
like don't have great credit and like get a car. Like it does usually work unless they're really, really stubborn.
Just avoiding predatory lending. Another
Pretty
thing you
much,
need an
yeah.
advocacy for.
Yeah, seriously. It's
so
like
anyway,
a whole business.
Insurance.
The dude that stole my crap bucket E46 in February, pretty sure, can't actually prove this yet. But he's a piece of garbage, charged with multiple felonies, but isn't in prison yet. Lit my roommate's car on fire in front of my
Arson.
house about 3 weeks ago. I woke up to the sound of the trunk lid being cut open by some fire people. Got out there, tried to get it redirected to the body shop here for an estimate. Had to go to arson investigation, came back. Anyway, when it finally hit the body shop of my choice, I knew Progressive was going to send out their own adjuster. They always do. And I was going to contrast that with whatever estimate we got from the body shop just up the road here. I had Corey immediately after the first phone call where they were, talking to him about the comps and all this other stuff, and it was the first adjuster, just like cornering him and talking, down the condition of the car and saying that all their comps had been researched and there were manuals and all this other
And
stuff.
they weren't. Yeah.
They weren't. They ended up not being. So I talked with Corey about it. I'm like, you need to make sure that they give you everything in writing and email. Please CC me on it, and then write physically to them. I give Eric Berger permission to,
Speak on my
act on my
behalf.
behalf. The ultimate go-ahead will still remain with Corey. So he does that, and then they call him back 2 more times over the course of 2 more days.
That's not how it works.
And he waited until I was around to take the phone call, so we took it together. But the initial offer on that car was $8,200. I pulled up their documentation, which they begrudgingly sent, and I looked up every one of them, and they were wrong options. They were nav cars. One I think was a 2-door. They were all automatics. All of them were rear-wheel drive, amazingly.
That's amazing.
Of
course, you can get that from the model of the car.
You can, yeah. Well, it'll say X-Drive, but yeah.
But that's it's called an X-Drive.
Right, but
it shows up. That shows up at the title on Carfax.
And I made it very apparent because they were docking engine condition because there were some visible oil deposits on it. I'm like, I will fight you up and down with documentation because I maintained this car.
So
I know. I'm just like, open the oil cap on any of your comps and open the oil cap on that.
Yeah, you're seeing
And
two
then
very different
tell me
vehicles.
what varnishing is after that.
Yeah.
And just things like that, like Blackstone oil analysis. Like, who does that on a car they don't care about?
Yeah.
And they were docking him for interior condition cleanliness when it had been on fire for 18 minutes.
Yeah, been fucking fire.
Docking him for glass condition. You know, the glass that the
20
firefighters blew into the car.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Stuff like
you can't dock
that.
on that stuff.
They said the tires on the car were at 2 and 3/30 seconds. I
They
mic'd them
went on
after the
fire.
fact. They were 6. I checked them with a caliper. So
Maybe
after
they checked it with the caliper from where the wear bar is. Even then, no, it wouldn't.
No.
Because it's only -2.
But I mean, they were melty in some areas, so I went to a portion that wasn't on fire and I checked them.
Yeah.
So once I finally verified the
They're
mileage,
really
which they
trying to do him
also
dirty.
couldn't check, they were using a calculator to figure out what his mileage was based on the last Carfax submitted record
oh my God,
and age.
Get out of here.
So it had like 20,000 more miles on it than it actually had, but I couldn't prove it yet.
God.
I will. I will fire
Yeah.
up the ECU and get the mileage, and I will submit for a reimbursement on his claim on his behalf. But anyway, it was just one of those things where I had to go to bring a trailer. Thank God. There were a couple pretty recent.
This is why Bring a Trailer leaves every single listing ever up. We have
Even when they
50,000
ask you to
listings.
take them down.
Yeah, we will not take them down because that's actually our property. Our intellectual property is the thing. I can't speak for Bring a Trailer itself, though.
And
I need to
it's
say
a
that.
reputable
Yeah,
site. Like,
yeah.
you cannot deny
They're
that
really good,
this is
yeah.
a real sale for a real car.
I love
They're-
that Bring a Trailer does that.
But I mean, I found 2 comps. One was a year older on smaller wheels, 30,000 lower miles, different color, no nav.
yeah,
that
I
was
shall
kinda nice.
say when I say we Bring a Trailer, I say like my employer. I don't speak on behalf of them, obviously.
Right.
But yeah,
That's your opinion as an employee.
as an employee of yes.
That car was 14 grand. I found another one that was the same year, had a nav, had a prior crash on its Carfax, 40,000 fewer miles, 16 grand. I gave them both those. Those are the only 2 I could find. They were even remotely close.
and they were
nothing,
so far off. Yeah,
Nothing for sale in the entire country.
yeah.
Nothing. I checked
Yeah.
everywhere. They then, again, called him back again,
You don't call.
asked
Huh.
if he had any more comps to submit because they couldn't find any, and then asked what he wanted for the car. I'm like, you don't do this on the phone when somebody asks for. I had already written a very lengthy come at your life email back to this first adjuster. He got assigned a new one that actually dealt with arson, which was really nice.
Oh, that is nice.
And just asked him point blank. Luckily, he said, nope, I'll call you back later. Waited until I could go on the phone call again, and I came up with a number of $11,500, which is substantially lower than the comps, but I thought it was fair and it would get him
Given
closed
everything
out.
else, yeah.
Yeah.
And they immediately is like, yep, sounds good, we'll pay you out. So they,
Cool.
like,
Done.
And it was, the only reason I'm talking about this, beside the advocacy, which we already talked on, because I provided all of this information to them that they should have done anyway, I saved probably 9 or 10 weeks minimum off of this entire claim.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Where the
That's
car was sitting
ridiculous.
completely unprotected outside, no wrap on it at all.
This is a very, very, very important
Disappointing.
example of why there needs to be an automotive just consultancy business where you have advocacy and you have brokers that just in
Yeah.
the same business. You have somebody like
Well, he needed a broker to find a new wagon,
Yeah.
you need you and a Wayne Carini. Like that's what you need.
pretty much. And like I found him the car that he put a deposit on. I mean, I searched high and low, and it was the second to last car for sale. I searched every single one for sale in the entire country, and I found one that was suitable.
Yeah.
And I just like, ignore everything I sent you the rest of the day, buy this one right now. And that's the plan. So
Perfect.
again, it comes back to like those 2 things fit hand in hand together, and it's for people that are just getting taken advantage of, especially when it's a situation like that where like they
Yeah,
had
it's-
no contribution to it. They didn't know the
There's-
person. They were just wronged,
There's
and then their
another thing where
insurance
it's like-
company tries to wrong them again.
Another thing is like, I don't want to be an asshole. You're okay doing that.
I make sure I'm right before I'm an asshole, but yes, I'm okay being an asshole.
I don't like being an asshole. I kill him with kindness. Like I try to. Like because like
Oh.
when I turn into an asshole, it's a very slippery slope for me. Because like when I do, it's like if I get to a point where I'm being an asshole, we're very close to us physically fighting. Like
You
I
can
don't-
read the email I sent to the adjuster. I was not mean.
But I mean, like for me to like,
Yeah.
like you've like seen me like when I am totally capable of being an asshole to somebody,
Yep.
but like I do it once, I'm very annoyed. Like,
Yeah,
for
you
me,
start
like,
off with facts,
I start
and
off with
you're
facts.
you're
and,
stern,
yeah, I'm
but
stern.
and you can tell
I'm
when you're
stern and
getting there.
blunt, but when I start being an actual dick
Yeah.
about something, that's like the next step is fisticuffs. Like it doesn't take like there's a very big
Where are you at,
area.
internet man?
There's a very big, like,
A buffer.
yellow area
Yeah.
where I'm, like, irritated, but once I get into, like, the me being a dick, like, the red, you have
Me
the
too.
purple, like, immediately there. It's like a millimeter of red and then a purple, and then it's like, I don't get to the point where I'm just...
I'll do Ask Matt on my own claims, but not for somebody
It's
else.
just like, I'm already, like... I'm already so irritated about everything else. I try to not get irritated about other things
And
more
to
than
your
I
point,
already
it
am.
doesn't
Yeah.
help.
It doesn't help. Like, I'm just blunt. I just don't want to deal with it. If I don't want to deal with something, like, I guess that could be me.
Here's a
being
list of
considered.
facts. Rebuke all of them if you want. Otherwise, let's move forward.
Yeah, I'm blunt, but I don't go out of my way to be an actual jerk. Like, once
I-
I'm a jerk about something. But yeah,
I
whereas, like,
don't
you, like,
either,
yeah.
but I
What
do get there.
find really disheartening about this is when you're in a situation where somebody vandalizes your car or like
Randomly,
arsons it,
yeah.
like that's just like the insurance company should understand you had no control over the situation
No,
and
they
you're
totally should, but they
absolutely
won't.
devastated.
I was gonna say it was in
No,
for a
they-
full investigation too.
Also,
so-
honey, you have to understand they're aware that you're devastated. Like,
Well, I
they're
know.
gonna take advantage
But
of
they,
it.
like, take
It's like the
advantage of
funeral
it.
industry.
Like,
yeah.
it's
Yes.
just,
Oh my god.
It's
yeah,
just like
it's
the
very
funeral
much like the
industry.
Just because
American
we're
funeral
bereaved doesn't
industry.
mean we're saps.
Exactly.
We're saps!
But like what I was
Shoulder Shabbos.
telling, you know, Corey is like no one understands what it's like to have a situation like this happen to you unless it's happened to them personally. Because like
It's a
he was
perfect
even
storm.
saying that he
Yeah.
didn't understand how I felt when my Accord was vandalized until this happened to him. And he goes, "Oh, now I know exactly how you
Yeah, it's a
felt."
total violation.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't expect anyone to understand how I feel, but like now that I know exactly how I felt, anybody that this happens, I'm like
There's a
automatically there for them because I'm like, no one else is gonna understand, and you're gonna have to deal with. It's just like dealing with like
Yeah.
either a dying pet or a family member.
There's a
You
It's a
have
similar
to deal
feeling.
with so many
Yeah.
shitty things because
So,
you have to deal with the grief
Yeah.
and all the legal and.
I don't
trying to
know
get
how he made it through that
finances.
week, frankly.
there's a reason. Some laws, there's a reason it's a felony, and there's a reason felons are treated different than
Yeah.
misdemeanors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's a degree, like a very obvious
Like, once you
separation.
commit an actual felony, like, you totally deserve it. Like, if you're a convicted felon, yes, your life should be awful. Because you are, like, there's, like, some laws where felonies, like, are kind of dumb, but, like, this is one of those things where it's, like,
It's
if
a-
you're a felon that's also an arsonist, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you totally deserve to never be able to buy a gun and to never vote ever again. Like,
If you
suck.
act with that kind of malice, there is something wrong
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah, like, that's what the term felon was for, is to set you apart from other criminals.
No, I feel the
'Cause-
same way because when even the shitty E46 was
Yeah.
stolen, like it wasn't the car. I don't care about the car, but like it was the act of being like wronged that deeply and
Yeah.
personally.
Exactly.
And, like yeah, that brought out
Also,
my
why
anxiety
there
again.
were
and-
dueling laws for such a long
Oh, for
time?
Pete's
because
sake, yeah.
I would duel them.
Yeah, and I've noticed every time I've talked to somebody, and like anybody who isn't a car person, when I'm like, "Hey, I'm really triggered by these things now," they're like, "Well, it's not that bad," and I go, "No, you don't understand.
I just don't even bother trying to explain
Like,
it.
Oh,
no, this is
I
like
get-
just
yeah.
It's a quick way. Again,
Yeah.
that's one of those situations I avoid because, like, that's the point where my little yellow zone of being annoyed will be
Yeah.
very, very short, and
And,
I'll
like-
just go to mad and then fighting.
So my students somehow found out what happened to the Accord, and every once in a while they'll ask me, they'll be like, "So somebody wrote bad words on your car?" And I go, "Yeah, somebody really mean wrote bad words on my car." And they're like, "That's so bad. That's terrible. Did they get in trouble?" And I go, "No." And they're like, "That's not fair." And so
Correct.
it's like
It's
it's
not.
funny that like kids understand more than like adults. Like
Yeah,
Yes,
adults are
adults
but,
suck.
yeah.
But
Kids
so anyway,
should be insurance
good
advisors.
news. You sold the E36,
I did.
and
Oh yeah, it was great. I sold it for 91.69, I think.
not bad.
No, I mean, of course they put in a 69 because why not?
Mhm.
Yeah, of course.
But no, it's still sitting downstairs. The guy wired me money on Monday, and he's got a shipper that was supposed to come on Tuesday but didn't yet. So either way, super nice guy. It's
shipping.
going to New Jersey. He seems
Yay.
beyond stoked to have it. So
Good.
awesome.
Good for him. You got a 345.
Yeah. No, it should be great. I mean, he's 22, so I'm sure he's gonna wrap it around a pole. But what a great
Yeah.
car to wrap around a pole.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then also Cars and Cases today. I saw Pinsgauer, which is kind of cool.
And a cord.
Yes. That we did see.
Not
a
a
cord.
did
cord.
see,
And
Cord.
cord.
And cord, yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, it's Cars and Caves. I didn't actually walk around. I
There was,
meant to.
there was an MGTD that was here. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
There was a
How full was it?
Pretty full.
Okay, that's good.
When I was walking around at like 11:30, it was pretty full.
Dang. Okay.
I tried to get here earlier, but Starbucks decided they wanted to take 30 minutes to get jammed
I
out my
could. I
coffee.
double took my watch when I saw you when I was talking to TJ with his Ute. I'm like,
I was pissed that I was here that late. I
like
tried
11, Ryan?
No, we tried to get here like at 10:30.
I mean, in the past, you guys have shown up like
Or-
pretty early for Cars and
I
Kids.
can show up. Well, I wake her up at like 9, and
Well,
we're
even
out of the
one
house
of
like 9:45 at the latest.
One of the last recordings we did was on the early side on like a Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
And like,
No,
yeah,
I can wake up.
I understand. It's just a lot of alarms.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a cool show. You had a lot of people just walking through that were ignoring cones.
Yeah,
And my teacher stance.
Yes, and Jana's teacher
Again,
stands.
children get it, but the adults are just
Yeah, the
idiots.
kids saw me and they.
There's a gaggle of kids that ran around the lift. I'm like,
Looked right
so much no for even insurance reasons, let alone you touching my car. But no, I let people walk through the avenue, just because I'm at an end unit, they don't have to go around. But like right now, the new unit's under construction. I have
You have way
11.
too many
I
cars
have
here.
11 cars in here. So I put cones up. Like I opened the doors so people could walk in and see the stuff and take better pictures. But I put cones in the walkway, and
So
people
they-
just walked right over 'em.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw there was some guy that was like over by your like toolbox. Just like this dude.
I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want you near like my crypto mining rigs or anything like that either. Like, there's
Yeah.
like thousands of dollars in GPUs sitting in each one of those, so like, I don't want that.
You know, I was
Yeah.
talking to Scott and I was like, I never, like, even when people allow me walk through units, I don't feel comfortable because I feel like I'm
No.
in their personal space.
Well, you are.
Like,
Yeah, no, I
and
take
it's
like
just
5
like,
feet
so I
in,
don't
maybe, at
understand why
most.
people, like,
People
and
make it clear when
Scott
they
and
want
I
you
were
in.
standing in the walkway while Stella was in Brexit, and we were obviously watching the TV, and, like, we looked like we were comfortable, and people were like, is this your unit? And we're like, yeah, why are you in here?
Oh yeah, I think
Like,
those are the
it's
people
like-
I closed
Yeah,
the screen
closed
on,
in,
as
yeah.
they walked in over the cone aimlessly. I'm like,
Oh, and they were in here when we closed the screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
hilarious. So they
Yeah,
know.
and then
Trapped 'em good,
Scott was
idiots.
like, "Hey, we don't really want you walking through here," and so they
Why don't you
walked
squirt 'em
back
with
the
water
other way.
like,
I
like-
saw them go back
Yeah,
over.
why don't you just squirt them with water like Bruno does?
No, that's a pellet gun you're thinking
Oh
of.
yeah, that's what he does. God, I hate that guy.
Yeah, he's a piece of crap.
And Dan,
But anyway,
apparently he's gone. Dan really wants me to go to Medina next month. I might.
He's not gone.
Yeah, I might go. Big man. Bruno sucks.
His good old marketing guy is gone. Bruno's not.
You know who's really good?
Who?
Big Mike from the Think Bigger project.
Who is he?
He's you know who he is. He has that really awesome prelude.
I know
Look
a
up Big
lot
Mike
of.
Prelude.
I'm currently changing topics around, so inform me and the listeners that aren't watching the video version
So,
what it is.
Big Mike in the Honda world is, I described him to Dan as he's, let me look at what I described him as, because Dan didn't quite know. He's one of those people, it's really weird because, in the Honda world, everybody knows who Big Mike is, but for Dan, like, he's not in the Honda world.
I don't know if I've seen this car.
Oh, you haven't?
I don't think so. I put it up on the screen for the visual viewers.
I called him a combination of, like, George Barris and Magnus Walker.
I don't think
in
I've ever
one
seen
person.
a 4th gen done up before.
Yeah, he's the guy that does them. But anyway, he does, like, every time he's built this car, he's, like, reset, like, the standards for import
Yeah.
tuning.
So he's like those hatch guys that just keep blowing records apart with like this old all-motor
Kind of.
EG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like Speed Factory, but, like,
He's-
with car shows.
Very
Okay.
nice. I do this thing where Ryan finds a car celebrity and then I talk to them about
Yeah.
archaeology and not cars, and they're always much more impressed.
He's very
with
excited
me.
to come say hi to you.
And so like, I got Ryan a job at Bring a Trailer because I
Wait, wait.
liked Renault 5s and talked to someone, and then
Amazing.
I got Big Mike to walk around a car show with Ryan.
So anyway,
because
yes.
archaeology.
So I'm really excited. He's to be down here for the Modest show.
Okay.
I'm not trying to cut you off. We're
No,
just,
I
like,
know.
We're all sorts of crazy late on this episode. I try to keep him as close to an hour as possible, and we're at like an hour 15. But yeah, he's going to be a guest show at the Modest show where we're going to be.
We're gonna
Yeah.
go.
We are going to be recording an episode early. I will be there recording possibly a second episode. At least I'll be doing a live stream there.
I'd say the live stream might go quite a bit later, but
Yeah,
we'll
well,
set
I'm
up
going
and-
to keep the camera just rolling for the show. So if you want to check it out on Twitch, we're going to have at least one camera at the booth pointed outwards for you to see people. I'm going to
People watch
see
it.
if I can figure out a way to get a wireless live stream setup going where I can walk around the show. I've been trying to find a way to do that. I just
Should
haven't had
be
time to
able to
really
do
look it
it.
up.
Yeah, I mean, you can always do like garbage Facebook Live. You can Twitch stream from your phone,
I know, yeah.
but it's really data heavy.
I know. That's what I'm-
hmm
So yeah, we are gonna do a live stream. I'm gonna try and walk around. We're gonna find a way to do it. At the very least, I'll have show footage from a camera. that we'll just throw up. We'll record it and we'll put it up on our YouTube
For the listeners,
channel later.
when is this?
This is coming up in August, actually. So, definitely be there.
It's going to be on a regular recording day for us, so you guys shouldn't have to do anything special to see us.
Yeah, it's. I'm really, really, really hyped for it. So let's see here.
I think it's the
It
end.
is
It's the last
August
weekend of
28th.
August. Yeah.
I knew
So I
it
will
was the
no
last
longer
weekend.
be employed.
Yeah, as I say, it's be the last weekend of August for sure. But I just couldn't remember the exact day. But yeah, it'll be August 28th. That's Big Mike.
Oh, he's not that big.
He's
very short.
He's surprisingly small.
He's just. I want to see the small Mike that gave him that name.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Some dude's like
It's
4
just
feet
Vern
tall.
Troyer.
Yeah, it's like Danny DeVito. But no, he's a really cool guy. He's really excited to have Juicy Lucy's. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
he wants to go to the Nook, so we'll take
I was
him
gonna
there.
say
Ooh.
where. Okay.
Yeah, we got to.
That's like
I told him. I just explained. I'm like,
that's Switzerland right there.
well, so this is what I told him. I told him I was like, I'm like, all right. So Matt's is the originator. Like Matt's is the. No, honey, it's the originator. We're not.
One
having
of them
this
came up with the
conversation.
recipe.
We're
One of them
not- we're
started
not-
the burger.
We're not having this conversation.
And there are people that
It is
perpetuate
Matt's.
them.
I'm saying
Matt's
Matt's
or the 5A?
because Matt's is better than the 5A Club. It's Matt's. Now, that being said, Matt's is a
Obama
huge.
did go to Matt's. So.
Matt's is a huge pain in the butt to get into because you have to pay with cash. And he's
Yeah.
like, what makes that a big pain in the butt? I'm like, all right,
But look at the location of the 5A.
mild
Yeah.
inconvenience, but you count that with parking and having to wait and everything. It turns into a pain in the butt. to
Matt
go to Matt's.
sucks.
I love Matt's Juicy Lucy.
Yeah, the burger's good.
but
We did it for Karch one month. We are never going back.
No, it's
Yeah,
so
I-
hard to deal with.
it's such
It took us
a
like
pain.
an hour to get in. We had a really shit table, bad service. The burger was good.
No, nothing about you go for the burger.
Yeah, I know.
the
That's
burger-
what we did.
Yeah, the burger's good, and I can't say anything else about it's good. Their beer's good, but
Ryan and I often get
Nothing else.
takeout
The
from
beer was
them.
good.
yeah, we do actually get takeout. From
That
them.
would be much better.
Yeah, because then
It's
you,
super
you,
quick,
you
too.
stand there, you look at them
I would
in the eye
bite
while they
squad
cook
the
it.
shit out of one of those, but I would never like go back and eat in
Um,
the restaurant.
But the Nook is
I love the
really
Nook.
good, and they have all their quality.
Plus, they have that sweet retro bowling alley with the new
Yeah.
guts downstairs.
Oh yeah, that's true.
and
Yeah, and then they also have
The dollar bill bar.
the Palm Alder burger is so good, and it doesn't take too long to do that. Unlike the Spanish Fly, the Spanish Fly takes like 45 minutes from they make your burger, because they have to make the chorizo.
I like
for
the
it.
fireman or whatever they call it.
Yeah, the Palm Alder.
We
Firehouse.
even have tiny Juicy Lucy's.
Oh yeah, they have the little bites. Oh, they're so good. I'm so excited. Now I'm hungry.
I love
Anyway,
the Nook, yeah.
We should cut the episode now so I can go and get some food.
Bye.